Ceratopsians are a well-known group of dinosaurs almost entirely thanks to the popularity of one genus, Triceratops, which is a chasmosaurine that lived 68 to 66 million years ago in the Late Cretaceous. This elephant-sized three-horned herbivore has been portrayed in plenty of paleomedia, from movies to games to books to documentaries, yet you rarely hear discussion relating to the earliest members of Triceratops's clade. Meet the Chaoyangsauridae, a family of small basal ceratopsians from the Jurassic. They were the only group of ceratopsians that thrived during the Jurassic period, then went completely extinct right as the Cretaceous kicked off. In this video, let's look at this family's genera and what separates each genus from the others. The earliest member of Chaoyangsauridae was Hualineceratops wukewanensis. Hualineceratops appeared in the Oxfordian stage of the Jurassic 160 million years ago in the Shishigu Formation of the Xinjiang region of western China. The skeleton of the holotype was discovered on a 2002 expedition conducted by the Institute of Vertebrate Paleontology and Paleoanthropology and the George Washington University. It was described 7 years later, being defined by the uniquely formed cheek and upper jaw bones, or the jugal and maxilla. The maxilla bears 9 teeth, while the dentary bears 7 teeth. Hualineceratops would have lived alongside some other well-known Chinese dinosaurs, including the theropods Sinraptor, Monolophosaurus, and Guanlong, as well as the sauropod Mamenchisaurus. Also hailing from the Shishigo Formation, and the only genera that I've already discussed before on the channel, is Yinglong. In a short I did back in November, I discussed how this little critter was among the earlier ceratopsians, being in the early Jurassic 158 million years ago. As a result, I want to keep this section brief, given I've already made a short on this genus, but to summarise, it's unique because of its primitive anatomy, including its totally hornless and mostly frillless skull. It had long, robust hind limbs and short, slender front limbs, indicating it was a biped like many older ornithischians. At only 10 kilograms, it would have been ideal prey for Guanlong, which is often depicted hunting Yinglong in almost all paleoart of the two genera. Next to appear in the Jurassic was Chaoyangsauridae. Chaoyangsauridae lived in the Haocheng Formation in the Hebei province of northeastern China from 150.8 to 145.5 million years ago. Chaoyangsauridae is known from 4 fragmentary specimens, with the first discovered in the 1970s and the other 3 all discovered in the summer of 2003. None of the subsequent material described was as complete as the specimen uncovered in the 70s, so that specimen became the holotype. There wasn't too much else that separated Chaoyangsauridae from its close relative, Chaoyangsaurus, without getting into the nitty-gritty of its teeth and skull anatomy. There's also not too much I can say about its environment. In fact, there's really nothing I can say at all aside from the Haocheng Formation consisting of sandstone and conglomerate deposited in fluvial, alluvial fan and delta fan conditions. In short, Chaoyangsauridae lived in a river delta, almost definitely coexisting with other yet-to-be-described paleofauna. Now we move on to the family's namesake, Chaoyangsaurus. Chaoyangsaurus lived 148 million years ago, being one of the last Jurassic members of its family. This genus is distinguished from its close relatives thanks to its more developed rostral bone being sharper and more prominent than prior members of Chaoyangsauridae. This shows an early step in ceratopsian evolution towards a stronger, more cropping bite seen in later ceratopsians. Chaoyangsaurus also had more uniform cheek teeth and a slightly more advanced grinding surface, indicating a step away from the previously seen omnivorous diet of its family members in favour of almost entirely vegetation. Chaoyangsaurus had 17 or 18 maxillary teeth, 22 dentary teeth, and 4 cheek teeth, giving a combined total of 44 teeth. For comparison, an adult human only has 32 permanent teeth, and much later ceratopsians like Triceratops may have had up to 800 teeth. though this came after 75 million years of specialization with 3 to 5 columns. The final member of Chaoyangsauridae, and the only genera to have lived in the Cretaceous, was Stenopalex. Stenopalex lived 140 million years ago in the Earliest Cretaceous. It is the only Chaoyangsauridae to have lived in the Cretaceous, but also the only member to have lived outside China, in Germany. Stenopalex was larger than the other Chaoyangsaurids, growing to 1.4 meters and 10 kilograms, about the size of Ceratopsians like Pachycephalosaurs from later on in the early Cretaceous. Stenopalex is distinguished thanks to the details in its femur. The shaft part of the ilium uniformly tapers, ending in a rounded point, while the shaft of the ischium is thickest in the middle and there shows a distinctive kink. Stenopalex is one of the most derived Chaoyangsauridae and showed signs of what was to come. Though the extinction of Stenopalex marked the end of the Chaoyangsaurids, it most certainly wasn't the end for the Ceratopsians, which over the next 74 million years would diversify to fill all sorts of niches, including going back to small herbivores like Microceratus and Aqualops, all the way to filling mega herbivore niches with chasmosaurines, like Triceratops, Pentaceratops, and Pachycephalosaurus. Thank you very much for watching this episode. It means the world that you take the time out of your day to watch these long-form videos, and I apologise if these long-form videos have been taking a back seat to shorts. It just takes that much longer to create a video like this than it does a short, especially when it comes to researching obscure topics like the first Ceratopsians. My long-form videos also don't usually do well enough for me to consider doing follow-ups, so please, if you want to see more long-form videos, then like and subscribe. At the time of recording, I'm at 835 subscribers, just 165 off the 1,000 milestone. When, not if, I reach it, we should do a celebration. What could that be? Please leave your suggestions in the comments below. Have a great day, folks.